How are people affording life right now? How are people tackling this cost of living?
We're not. Truth of the matter, most of us are living paycheck to paycheck with credit card debt. I know people who are legitimately putting gas and groceries on credit cards just so that they can get back and forth to work. I believe that this is what most people are now calling the silent depression. $100 has become the new $20, and it's ridiculous, but the best thing about it is that people have shifted their core values. Look at this app alone and all the videos of all the retailers on Black Friday that nobody was there. They just don't care anymore. People are realizing that if it doesn't bring value into my life, then I don't need it. And while I don't get political on this app, you're having people on both sides of the aisles going, yeah, this kind of sucks. Right wing, left wing, it doesn't matter. It's the same bird. And now so many Americans are going, I don't care. I think it's woken a lot of people up to the idea of why are we funding things that we don't care about when all of us right here are struggling. It's changed the people's attitude in the workforce to where a job is just a job. You used to be very loyal to a job, but they've seen that there's no employee loyalty because there's no employer loyalty. People aren't putting up with toxic bosses anymore. You're either going to treat me right or I'm going to leave, because there's tons of companies that are hiring because nobody can find help. People just don't trust the system anymore, and they're starting to focus on what matters the most. Most people are out here making more money than they ever have and realizing that it's not going anywhere. So they're just not spending it. And what has made a lot of people turn their back on the system is that now they somehow either make too much or not enough money to qualify for the government assistance that they've been paying into their entire life. There are people out there who can't afford to buy the groceries, but they make too much money to get the food stamps. A lot of people are out here calling it the depression. I like to call it the awakening. People are just realizing how much they can get done on their own and that they don't need the government to hold their hand. So to go back to your question, how are people making it? Financially, I don't really know, but I'm very grateful that people are starting to look for answers.
How did we get here? Hunter-gatherer. It is the oldest means of how both humans and animals alike carve out a life on planet Earth. The lifestyle still exists amongst the world's indigenous tribes who remain untouched by the rapidly changing modern world. They provide great insight on our past and how we coexisted with nature for hundreds and thousands of years. That is, until early humans figured out a practice that would give us an edge over other species. Farming instead of foraging allowed us to sustain our families and entire villages by individually and collectively growing foods. This meant we wouldn't have to constantly search and compete with other animals for seasonal delicacies. We could now plant what we wanted and as much as we wanted. Hunting and fishing allowed us to take the game we needed from the land and when we needed them, until it was later discovered most wild beasts could be tamed, and so began animal husbandry. Though wolves were first domesticated long before to aid in hunting, it was through them that we gained an understanding of how to domesticate other wild animals for food and other uses. This brought much food security if hunting and fishing was unsuccessful, which was rare. Human population was a lot smaller and resources were abundant. This new lifestyle made us less nomadic and enabled us to form safer establishments, and the abundance of food gradually increased human population. Tribes, villages, clans, they were all often tight-knit, with members dividing daily duties that benefited everyone. If not in conflict, neighboring groups traded goods, shared stories, and passed down knowledge and wisdom. As time progressed, larger groups of people formed cities, and with such a population, the need to govern the public was in demand. Human societies would continue this expansion, developing new systems and practices up until the harnessing of electricity in the 19th century. Year 1800, Alessandro Volta developed the battery. This was the greatest discovery since man learned to start fire. This steady flow of energy brought forth new inventions and machines that powered cities. The industrialization of new machinery evolved from steam-powered to electric that rapidly fueled man's desire for growth and expansion in just a short period of time. Factories grew, and new jobs entered the market, tempting people in rural areas who practice homesteading to give up the old way of life and be a part of an expanding civilization that promised wealth, opportunity, and better living conditions. The lifestyle became popular and attracted upcoming generations in a period sparking the start of urbanization. In America, mainly between 1870 and 1920, people were selling their parents' farmland and moving into cities. Inventions that gave the luxury of convenience became must-haves across the nation. But none of this came easy. Many people faced poverty, living in crowded apartments and unsanitary conditions. Despite this, some found it a step above the responsibilities of farming and the homestead life. For them, there was no going back, only into a future of new possibilities. This conquest for a better life established the American dream and launched us into the rat race to obtain it. The theory conditioned us to be solely consumers for convenience, and it has altered our behavior as humans. Working hard became a psychological byproduct ingrained in our minds to win a race that can't be won. Events such as wars led to even more conveniences, this time with our food system. With more American men drafted to fight World War II, it left a void in the workforce. A staggering number of American women had to leave the homes to keep the economy afloat, working jobs men otherwise would. Home-cooked meals were slowly becoming a thing of the past. This presented opportunity for both American and immigrant entrepreneurs to craft solutions to problems that plagued the nation. If you watched the show, The Food That Built America on History Channel, they tell the origins of how many brands that dominate our grocery store shelves rose to dominance. Of all the episodes, I can conclude that the majority of the companies became food giants out of the desperation for success, not in good faith of their consumers' health. Still, their creations and discoveries became a lifesaver to many now working and exhausted women who struggled to maintain the duties of a job and home life. Once introduced, these products never left the store, yet alone the home. On top of the rising fast food chains, people were slowly being groomed to be solely consumers and depend on corporations to feed them. The nation is literally eating out of the palm of their hand. First came the disconnect from nature, now the disconnect from food. As more inventions that make our lives convenient are introduced, we are still on the hamster wheel. What was meant to be good has stripped the individual of independence, which brings us to the modern day.
I don't know how any of you guys are going and going and going. I know you gotta be at the same level of mental health as me. Every day it's something new. Between the fucking news and the fucking stupid Biden and stupid Trump. And this country's fucked. Every day we're spending more and more money. None of us are getting ahead. The rich people are the ones that are fucking getting ahead. I'm tired of struggling. I've done everything I can. I'm trying to be a good man. I can't look at my daughter and my wife and know I'm failing. Everybody wake up. It's time to stand up. It's time to be tired of this.
3 small bags of groceries, $50.
So my wife and I spend $1,200 a month on groceries, and it's just us. We have no kids.
This is $389.14 worth of groceries from Walmart.
Wow. 1.3 million empty rentals in America? Because the home that they forced me and my family out of, guess what? It's empty. Are they working on it? No. Is it going to be put on the market anytime soon? No. It's going to be left empty. Because what they really want is to control that community. So they're going to buy up more. They're going to push people out more. That's why I'm speaking up about it. Before it's too late and it happens to more people. We need change.
Honestly, by June, I'll probably be living in my car because I'm not going to stay in the toxic situation I'm in right now, but no place is allowing me to live there because they don't include Section 8 because people ruined it for everyone else. Everybody knows there is a housing crisis. They know that the population, most of us are homeless right now. They still decide to build luxury apartments. One skyscraper and 2 other huge apartment complexes that are being built right now that are luxury. Who are you advertising that to? All the rich people live in mansions. All the well-off people own their houses here. They don't need to rent. We can't afford this. We can't afford to be paying more than $700 a month where I live for apartment. And the fact that so many places don't allow Section 8. That's why we got so many young people here that are homeless.
I never, ever had a problem paying my bills. This shit is stressing me out. Got one bill to pay, another bill to pay, another bill to pay, another bill to pay, another bill to pay. Tickets, more tickets. It's like life just wants you to fail. Like, it just don't make no sense. This is blowing me.
Every time I think about or trying to move out my parents' house, the cost of living just get higher and higher. I check my pay stubs all the time. I'm not making as nearly as what I would make if they ain't take all them fucking taxes out of my checks every 2 weeks. And me personally, I never agreed with having to have more than one source of income. In my opinion, you having more than one source of income should be a choice. It shouldn't be, I shouldn't need 2 sources of income to fucking survive.
I have been homeless for over 100 days. I live here in this Prius, which is a rental car, and I work more than full time. I work more than 50 hours every week, and I can't qualify for an apartment in most states in America today. 15 years ago, 20 years ago, people could work one job, afford to buy a home, have a car, a newer car, a yearly vacation. You go back a little bit further, like 30 years ago, one person could earn for a whole family, could have a partner, children, a new car, and a yearly vacation on one income. So how are we at this point where people like myself that are working can't afford a place to even live? But then when we ask for that, it's somehow called socialism. We are being screwed in America today by both political parties. Both of the political parties, Democrat and Republican, are the people that have driven us into the ditch that we are in now. We can't expect the same people that drove us into the ditch to drive us out of the ditch. We're at a point now, folks, where we have got to take the wheel. We are at a point where we are at each other's throats, and we've got to be able to tone it down and realize that we are being sold a bad deal in America right now. And everything is so polarized, and it's polarized on purpose so that we fight each other, that we hate each other. And that is what the powerful and the elite want from us. Because if they can keep us powerless, it keeps them powerful. And there's a lot of people trying in America right now. There is a lot of people right now that are really doing everything they can when everything is being put against them. And I think it's so easy to get on a keyboard and say you're lazy, oh, you're a socialist, you know, you want the government to just take care of you. I don't want the government to take care of me, but what I want is a fair chance to build a life that I love. But how can I do that when I can't even afford a place to live, when I'm spending 7 days a week working up to 60 hours? That's not a way. So let us find ways we can have meaningful conversations. I think it starts there.
Why are we okay with being slaves? Where will the line be drawn and when? We are constantly snared with the illusion of a better life, but in the midst of the distractions, people are awakening to the betrayal. How is it that we have achieved this better life when people are just as stressed now than ever and on every level? On a financial level, health level, mental, spiritual, and others in between. Corporations have made us dependent on their inventions or ideas, which are strategically woven in our everyday lives, and we work hard to maintain them. Corporations are our masters, and money is the tool to keep us in line. Most of our ancestors were considered poor, undeveloped, or uncivilized because they didn't solely depend on developing advancements, but it seems they truly understood the core of life. Just last century, if you owned a horse, lived on a farm, and produced your own food, you were considered poor. Instead of drive a car, live in a high-rise apartment, and dine at the finest restaurants. Fast forward today, it's the opposite. They have the majority of the population just where they want us. Whether you believe it's an agenda or coincidental crisis, it's clear this system has failed and needs to be scrapped. We know what needs to happen. The government hold banks and corporations accountable, but in truth, it's highly likely these three entities are in cahoots. We can't expect them to change, nor can we continue to allow them to control and dictate resources. Land, food, water, and other resources are here for all plants, animals, and humans to use, not for one entity to hoard and deny us. This is why we, the people, must take our power back and break the psychological chains that keep us dependent on them. We have to be slow to accept new conveniences that claim to make our lives better and get back to understanding the natural order of things. We must redefine this social construct of poor and wealthy, gain basic skills that benefit ourselves and communities, rebuild a sense of community, provide our own foods locally, and learn the names and uses of more plants and animals instead of brands. Applying self-sufficiency where you can will help with this. If enough people partake, we will begin to see a change in our environment. Common foods that can be produced by the backyard gardener or local farmer cuts down on transportation and therefore air pollution. Learning organic gardening mimics nature, eliminating the need for herbicides and other chemicals that kills the soil's microbiome and poisons water sources. Much of the land used for horticulture, also known as plant agriculture, is replaced by trees that grow into forests, providing more places for wildlife to live. Not forgetting the increase of trees improves air quality. It also provides more opportunity for people to forage for wild edibles and hunt game when needed. In addition to supporting local farms practicing regenerative agriculture that allows the livestock to mimic their wild counterparts who help restore the land. And don't be surprised when people's quality of life improves as well. Harvesting your own game and plants connects you with true nature and strengthens one's understanding and respect for what our planet provides. Of course, the food quality improves physical health, but also mental, as partaking in these activities can be therapeutic. You start to appreciate the little things that are a big part of our existence and fight to preserve them. Not to forget the other life lessons you learn in between. You may even see how being self-sufficient and resourceful improves your finances. People spend upwards to $1,000 a month on groceries alone, but producing some food yourself can free up capital. Using myself as an example, with the space I have access to, I garden. By companion planting, I'm able to grow different plants in a small space that I can preserve and store for future uses. As far as my meat consumption, hunting and fishing for game within my state helps. 2 or 3 deer is usually enough to sustain me until the following season, and I can fish for what I need throughout. This abundance of food frees up some capital that I can put towards other things. I still shop at grocery stores for things I can't produce, but don't spend nearly as much as many people unless I'm buying high-end delicacies. Because of this, I usually only ask myself, what am I going to eat today? Not will I. It's taken me some time to develop my system of self-sufficiency, but in the end, it works for me. Your situation may be different, and that's okay. The lifestyle is highly customizable to your living condition. You just have to design how it can work for you. Most people are even going as far as going off-grid in self-sustainable houses called earthships. Your system will be challenging at first, but you'll constantly reinvent your style over time. And though it will be hard at times, it's not as hard as being at the mercy of someone else, forever. Help others learn what you have today by liking this video and subscribe to the tribe to learn more about the self-sufficient lifestyle. It's time we get back to nature. True nature.